The dark has not changed. Your eyes have adjusted. A few moments ago, the room may have seemed empty of detail. The corners disappeared. Familiar shapes became uncertain. The space around you appeared quiet, still, and almost without form. Then your vision began to soften. Nothing new had to be added. The room did not need to prove itself. The objects around you did not rush forward and announce that they had been there all along. Your eyes rested. Your breathing slowed. Little by little, what had seemed hidden became visible. This is one of the quiet truths of your inner life. Sometimes the good you are seeking does not arrive through greater effort. Sometimes your way of seeing becomes ready to recognize what strain could not reveal. You may have spent a long time believing that change must announce itself loudly. You may have expected certainty to arrive as a dramatic answer, a perfect sign, an unmistakable turning point that would remove every question from your mind. Yet much of life unfolds more quietly than that. A new thought feels slightly more believable. A possibility that once seemed distant no longer feels completely closed. Your body releases a small amount of tension. You wake with less heaviness than you carried the day before. You respond differently to something that used to pull you into fear. You take one practical step without needing to know the entire road ahead. These shifts may look small from the outside, but they can change the way you meet your life. Tonight, you do not have to manufacture certainty. You do not have to convince yourself that everything will happen exactly as you hope. You do not have to search the darkness for proof. Your only task is to rest long enough for your inner sight to become less hurried. There are forms of understanding that become harder to reach when you stare too intensely. The more desperately you try to see, the more your whole system tightens around the question. Is it coming? Am I doing this correctly? Have I missed something? Why has nothing changed yet? What if I hope again and feel disappointed again? These questions are deeply human. They are not evidence that you are closed, broken, unworthy, or incapable of creating a different relationship with your future. They often mean that you have cared for something sincerely. They may mean that you have waded through uncertainty before. They may mean that hope has not always felt safe in your hands. For this night, let your hope be quieter than prediction. Let it be present without demanding that it explain itself. You are not required to solve your whole life before sleep. You are not required to decide exactly how every desired change will happen. You are not required to hold the entire future in your mind so that it does not slip away. Life is still moving while you rest. Your mind is still capable of learning a kinder pattern. Your choices can become clearer without being forced. Your inner world can grow more open through repetition, patience, honesty, and care. This evening is not a test of how strongly you can believe. It is a place to become less afraid of possibility. Across these nights, you may return to the same quiet intention, to meet your life with less strain and more readiness. Some evenings, the words may feel close. Other evenings, your thoughts may wander. You may fall asleep early. You may remember only one sentence. You may listen while carrying sadness, doubt, irritation, or exhaustion. None of those experiences disqualifies you. There is no perfect emotional state you must achieve before change can begin. You do not need to perform peace. You do not need to imitate certainty. You do not need to become someone else in order to rest beside a new possibility. Each return can be simple. You arrive as you are. You hear what you are able to hear. You take what feels useful. You let the rest pass without turning the night into another task you must complete correctly. This is how a deeper relationship with yourself can grow. Not through pressure, not through constant measurement, not through watching yourself every moment to see whether you are improving fast enough. It grows through a steady willingness to come back. You may already know the exhaustion of searching for reassurance. You open your eyes in the morning and check whether you feel different. You study the day for evidence. You watch other people's lives and compare their timing with your own. You hear someone describe a breakthrough and wonder why your path has not moved in the same way. You search for patterns in conversations, numbers, dreams, delays, coincidences, and passing remarks. A hopeful interpretation lifts you for a while. Then a quiet hour arrives, and doubt begins examining everything again. Was that meaningful? Was I only imagining it? Did I misunderstand? Should I be doing more? Should I repeat different words? Should I think more positively? Should I stop wanting so much? The mind can become very busy when it is trying to prevent another disappointment. It can turn every ordinary event into a verdict. A delay becomes rejection. A difficult day becomes proof that nothing is changing. A moment of fear becomes evidence that you have undone all your progress. Someone else's success becomes a reminder of your own waiting. Silence becomes an answer you did not want. This constant interpretation can make your inner life feel like a place where nothing is permitted to be neutral. Everything must mean that your good is approaching or that it is moving away. Everything must confirm, hope, or destroy it. No wonder you become tired. You were never meant to evaluate your future through every passing mood. A heavy morning does not cancel your capacity for growth. A doubtful thought does not control the direction of your life. An unanswered question does not mean that all possibilities are gone. You are allowed to have an ordinary day while becoming more ready for change. You are allowed to feel uncertain while taking wise action. You are allowed to want something deeply without turning every hour into a measurement of whether it is near. Perhaps you have also tried bargaining with life. You promised that you would be grateful enough if the answer came. You promised that you would never doubt again. You offered perfect discipline in exchange for relief. You told yourself that if you repeated the right phrase, held the right mood, followed the right routine, or stayed positive without interruption, then you could earn the result you wanted. When it did not arrive on your preferred schedule, you looked inward for the mistake. You wondered whether your belief had been too weak. You questioned whether one fearful thought had ruined everything. You examined your worth. You treated disappointment as evidence against yourself. You may have carried the quiet belief that life responds only to flawless inner work. That belief can make even healing practices feel punishing. Rest becomes another assignment. Reflection becomes another performance. Hope becomes something you must maintain without ever becoming tired. You begin monitoring your own mind as though every thought has the power to damage your future. You try to remove sadness before it has been heard. You push away anger before it has shown you where a boundary is needed. You silence fear before it can reveal what support would help you feel safer. You replace honest emotion with words you think you are supposed to say. Then part of you becomes lonely inside the practice that was meant to bring comfort. Tonight, you can stop treating your humanity as interference. Your emotions are not enemy, standing between you and a better life. They are experiences moving through a living nervous system. Some need patience. Some need expression. Some need practical change. Some need support from a trusted person. Some become lighter with rest. Some deserve the care of a qualified professional who can help you carry what has become too heavy to hold alone. There is wisdom in spiritual reflection, and there is wisdom in seeking real assistance. There is strength in inner work, and there is strength in taking outward steps. One does not cancel the other. You do not become less faithful by making a plan. You do not become less open by setting a boundary. You do not become less hopeful by asking for help. A better life is not built by pretending that difficult things are easy. It grows through honesty, support, wise choices, repeated care, and the courage to respond to what is actually happening. You may have tried to force an outcome because uncertainty felt unbearable. You pictured one exact version of the future and held it so tightly that every alternative seemed like failure. You decided who had to call. You decided what they had to say. You decided when the opportunity had to appear. You decided what form the solution had to take. You decided how quickly your body, finances, relationships, work, or confidence had to improve. You may have believed that loosening your grip would mean giving up. So you kept the desired scene active in your mind from morning until night. You rehearsed it while eating. You reviewed it while working. You returned to it during quiet moments. You tried to keep it emotionally bright. Then, beneath the effort, you carried a second image, the feared future you were trying to prevent. The wanted outcome and the feared outcome competed for your attention. You moved between excitement and dread. You called the excitement faith. You called the dread failure. You judged yourself for moving between them. This movement is not unusual. The mind often travels between hope and protection when something matters. One part of you imagines the life you would love to experience. Another part remembers what happened the last time you trusted. One part reaches forward. Another part studies the ground. One part says, "This could become beautiful." Another says, "Do not become careless." Both parts may be trying to serve you. The hopeful part protects your capacity to grow. The cautious part protects you from pain. Neither part needs to be attacked. They can learn to exist in the same inner space without controlling each other. You can hope without demanding certainty. You can be careful without closing every possibility. You can move forward without denying what you have learned. You can let the future remain partly unknown while choosing what supports you now. Many people call themselves impatient when they are actually afraid. The waiting is not always the hardest part. The hardest part may be not knowing what the waiting means. You may be able to tolerate time when you trust that something worthwhile is developing. What hurts is the thought that nothing is happening. What hurts is imagining that you have been forgotten. What hurts is fearing that your effort has disappeared without effect. What hurts is wondering whether you should keep going or protect yourself by expecting less. So you search for certainty again. You look for a sentence, a sign, a prediction, or a promise that will remove the unknown. For a moment, reassurance settles you. Then the mind asks for fresh reassurance. This does not mean you are weak. It means borrowed certainty cannot remain forever. At some point, your steadiness must become less dependent on receiving constant confirmation from outside yourself. That steadiness does not appear all at once. It grows each time you stay present, without turning uncertainty into catastrophe. It grows each time you take the next sensible step without demanding a guarantee. It grows each time you let one difficult emotion pass without treating it as a prophecy. It grows each time you speak to yourself with respect instead of accusation. It grows each time you choose rest before exhaustion makes every possibility look hopeless. Across these nights, you are not training yourself to ignore reality. You are learning not to let fear write the meaning of reality before the next chapter has occurred. You may have rehearsed disappointment because it seemed safer than being surprised by it. Before an answer arrived, you imagined the refusal. Before the meeting, you heard the criticism. Before sending the message, you pictured silence. Before trying again, you prepared an explanation for why it would not work. Before enjoying a good moment, you warned yourself that it might not last. This preparation can feel intelligent. It can feel like emotional insurance. You tell yourself that expecting less will reduce the pain. Yet the body does not always distinguish between a feared event and the repeated inner rehearsal of that event. Each rehearsal can create tension in the present, even when the feared moment never comes. You suffer a possible future many times in advance. Then you call this protection. Your protective habits deserve compassion, but they do not need to direct every night of your life. You can thank the part of you that has tried to prevent shock. You can understand why it learned to scan for danger. You can respect the disappointments that shaped it. You can also begin showing it that readiness is not the same as dread. Preparation can include resources, plans, boundaries, information, and support. It does not have to include endless inner suffering. You can prepare for reality without repeatedly living through your worst prediction. You can remain wise without becoming permanently braced. You can remember the past without making it the only evidence the future is permitted to use. There may also be moments when you doubt in the middle of hope. You begin to feel encouraged, and almost immediately another voice asks whether you are being foolish. You enjoy a sense of possibility, then hurry to correct yourself. You become excited about an idea, then list every reason it may fail. You feel connected to your inner guidance, then question whether the feeling was real. You start taking a step, then pause to search for complete confidence. Because complete confidence rarely arrives before movement, you remain still. Then the stillness becomes evidence that you are stuck. This cycle can repeat quietly for years. You wait to feel ready. Readiness waits for evidence. Evidence waits for action. Action waits for certainty. Certainty waits for a future that has not happened. Tonight, you do not have to break the whole cycle. You only need to see it without blame. Seeing clearly is already different from being carried by it unconsciously. You can recognize the moment when a useful question becomes repetitive checking. You can recognize the moment when planning becomes avoidance. You can recognize the moment when reflection becomes self-criticism. You can recognize the moment when hope becomes pressure. You can recognize the moment when a desire becomes tied to your worth. The desire itself is not the problem. Wanting companionship, stability, health support, meaningful work, creative expression, peace, opportunity, or financial steadiness does not make you demanding. Your wishes may be connected to sincere needs. The pain begins when the mind says that your life cannot hold value until the wish appears. Then the present becomes a waiting room you are trying to escape. Ordinary moments lose color. Rest feels undeserved. Joy feels premature. You postpone kindness toward yourself until circumstances improve. You postpone pride until the result is visible. You postpone belonging until someone chooses you. You postpone peace until every uncertainty has been resolved. You postpone life while asking life to begin. A new relationship with hope does not ask you to care less. It asks you to stop abandoning yourself while you care. You can desire change and remain present. You can work toward improvement and still recognize what supports you today. You can hold a meaningful intention without making your current self an unacceptable draft. You are not merely the person waiting for an answer. You are the person breathing now. You are the person who has survived previous uncertainty. You are the person capable of learning new responses. You are the person who can make one supportive decision tomorrow. You are the person who can pause before interpreting silence. You are the person who can separate facts from fear. You are the person who can seek guidance when the next step is unclear. You are the person who can leave situations that require you to become smaller. You are the person who can rest without losing your direction. This does not mean every desired outcome will happen. It means your relationship with yourself does not have to collapse whenever life remains uncertain. There is freedom in that distinction. You may not control every event, every person, every delay, or every result. You can influence how honestly you respond. You can choose what information you seek. You can decide where a boundary belongs. You can ask for help. You can revise a plan. You can stop pursuing what repeatedly harms you. You can continue what is worthy of patient effort. You can care for your body. You can speak more truthfully. You can make room for outcomes that are supportive, even when they differ from the first picture in your mind. That last possibility may feel difficult. You may believe that openness to another form means weakening your intention. It does not. You can be clear about the qualities you seek without controlling every detail of their arrival. You can want love without deciding which person must provide it. You can want meaningful work without believing only one position can hold it. You can want security without demanding that it come through one narrow route. You can want healing support without blaming yourself when progress is uneven. You can want reconciliation while accepting that safety and mutual responsibility matter. You can want a new beginning while taking time to understand what must change. Clarity and flexibility can exist together. You can name what matters while leaving space for life to show you something you had not considered. This is not passive waiting. It is active readiness without constant strain. It is answering the email that needs an answer, making the appointment that needs to be made, learning the skill that strengthens your options. Resting when your thinking has become too tired to remain fair. Seeking qualified guidance when the situation exceeds what private reflection can resolve. Having the conversation that honesty requires. Stepping back when another person repeatedly violates your limits. Returning tomorrow to the work that cannot be completed tonight. These are not signs that you lack trust. They are ways trust becomes practical. Tonight, you may begin releasing the belief that inner peace must be earned through certainty. Peace can visit before the answer. It can appear beside an unanswered question. It can exist while a plan is still incomplete. It can share the room with sadness. It can remain present while you admit that you do not know. Peace does not always mean that every part of you feels calm. Sometimes it means you stop fighting the part that is afraid. You speak to it with steadiness. You tell it the truth. You do not promise an outcome you cannot guarantee. You promise companionship. You promise that you will not insult it for remembering pain. You promise that you will seek help when help is needed. You promise that you will not use spiritual ideas to keep yourself inside danger. You promise that you will not call neglect patience. You promise that you will not call self-abandonment faith. You promise that your openness will include discernment. These promises create a safer inner ground. From that ground, the future does not need to be conquered tonight. You can meet it as it arrives. You can learn from what becomes clear. You can respond to what changes. You can remain close to yourself through outcomes you welcome and outcomes you would not have chosen. There is strength in knowing that your life is larger than one result. Your capacity to love is larger. Your ability to begin again is larger. Your wisdom is still developing. Your options may be wider than fear currently permits you to see. The darkness has not revealed everything, but your eyes do not need everything at once. They need time. They need rest. They need freedom from the command to identify every shape immediately. Your inner sight deserves the same patience. For tonight, you can stop searching the room for a final answer. Let what is already present become clearer at its own pace. Let your breathing become less involved in solving. Let your jaw rest from holding back words that do not need to be spoken tonight. Let your shoulders leave tomorrow where it belongs. Let the bed carry the weight that has already been carried long enough today. This is only the beginning of the evening. Nothing is being demanded from you. No result is being measured. No hidden test is taking place. You are here. The day is complete enough to release. Your questions can remain unanswered for a few hours. Your hopes can rest without disappearing. Your future can remain open without being forced into view. Tonight, your work is not to create more light. Your work is to become quiet enough to see differently. That quieter way of seeing does not erase what taught you to be careful. Your doubt did not appear without a history. Your hesitation was not created by a flaw in your character. There were moments when you trusted and felt let down. There were plans you believed in that did not unfold as you expected. There were people whose words did not match their actions. There were doors you approached with sincerity that remained closed. There were seasons when you gave your best and still had to face an outcome you would not have chosen. Your mind remembered. Your body remembered. Even when you decided to move forward, some part of you continued listening for the sound of another disappointment. That part was not trying to ruin your future. It was trying to protect you from repeating the past. It learned that excitement could be followed by loss. It learned that promises could change. It learned that hope could make you feel exposed. It learned that wanting something deeply could make waiting more painful. So it became watchful. It asked you to check again. It told you not to become too hopeful. It urged you to imagine what might go wrong before life had the chance to surprise you. It believed that if it could predict the pain would become easier to bear. This protection may have helped you through something real. It may have helped you notice danger. It may have slowed you down when trust needed to be earned. It may have kept you from returning too quickly to a situation that had not become safe. It may have helped you survive a time when you had very little support. There is no need to shame the part of you that learned these responses. Shame does not create openness. Pressure does not create trust. The mind does not become peaceful because it is ordered to stop remembering. You cannot insult yourself into feeling secure. You cannot accuse yourself into becoming hopeful. You cannot force a protective part to relax while continuing to treat it as a problem. A kinder change begins when you understand what that part has been trying to do. You can say, in your own way, that you understand why it became watchful. You understand why it questions good news. You understand why it waits for a hidden cost. You understand why it prepares for withdrawal, rejection, delay, or disappointment. You understand why it sometimes mistrusts ease. You understand why a calm period can feel unfamiliar. You understand why receiving care may feel more difficult than giving it. You understand why success can bring anxiety as well as relief. You understand why being seen can awaken the fear of being judged. You understand why possibility can feel both beautiful and dangerous. Understanding does not mean every protective habit must remain in control. It means change no longer has to begin with self-rejection. You can honor what helped you survive and still choose what helps you live more fully now. Some responses belong to an earlier chapter. They may still appear automatically because repetition made them familiar. The mind often repeats what is known before it considers what is possible. A familiar fear can feel more believable than an unfamiliar peace. A familiar struggle can feel safer than an uncertain improvement. A familiar disappointment can feel easier to predict than a good outcome you have never experienced. This does not mean you secretly want difficulty. It means familiarity has a powerful pull. Your deeper patterns may return to what they recognize, even when what they recognize is uncomfortable. That is why patience matters. A new belief does not always feel true the first time you hear it. A new boundary does not always feel natural the first time you set it. Rest does not always feel restful when you are accustomed to vigilance. Support does not always feel safe when you are accustomed to handling everything alone. A healthy opportunity may not feel immediate. Lie comfortable if chaos has been your most familiar rhythm. You may mistake unfamiliarity for danger. You may mistake calm for emptiness. You may mistake steadiness for lack of excitement. You may mistake a slower connection for lack of care. You may mistake honest uncertainty for failure. You may mistake the absence of struggle for the absence of value. These confusions can soften over time. You do not have to correct them through force. You can become curious about them. You can ask whether the feeling in front of you belongs entirely to the present, or whether part of it comes from what happened before. You can pause before making one old fear the final authority. You can gather facts. You can seek wise perspective. You can give trust in appropriate amounts. You can let people earn closeness through consistent actions. You can let opportunities reveal themselves gradually. You can remain open while keeping your judgment. This is an important boundary of inner work. Openness never requires you to ignore what you see. It never asks you to excuse harm. It never asks you to stay where your safety, dignity, or well-being is repeatedly threatened. It never asks you to call mistreatment a lesson you must endure. It never asks you to remain silent so that you can appear spiritually advanced. It never asks you to abandon practical thinking. It never asks you to reject medical, psychological, legal, financial, or other qualified support when such guidance is needed. It never asks you to believe that every hardship was created by the quality of your thoughts. Life is more complex than that. People face illness, grief, injustice, poverty, trauma, loss, violence, and circumstances they did not choose. Positive thinking does not make these realities unreal. A spiritual practice can support calm perspective, self-respect, and steadier choices. It cannot guarantee a particular result. It cannot replace necessary action. It cannot substitute for skilled care when your body or mind needs professional support. It cannot make another person change. It cannot make an unsafe situation safe through belief alone. It cannot control every event. You deserve an approach that honors both your inner life and the real conditions of your life. You deserve encouragement that does not blame you. You deserve hope that does not ask you to deny evidence. You deserve language that strengthens your choices rather than weakening your boundaries. You deserve practices that help you return to yourself, not practices that make you afraid of every thought. Tonight, you are not being asked to believe that your mind controls the entire world. You are being invited to recognize that your inner patterns influence how you interpret, choose, respond, persist, recover, and relate. That influence matters. It can shape whether you see only one possibility or several. It can shape whether you ask for what you need. It can shape whether you remain in situations that repeatedly diminish you. It can shape whether you try again after one disappointment. It can shape whether you recognize an opportunity that does not look exactly like the one you imagined. It can shape whether you treat yourself as an ally while circumstances are changing. These are meaningful shifts. They do not require exaggerated promises. They do not require you to pretend that every desire will arrive. They do not require a perfect mood. They begin with the way you meet the next real moment. You may have learned early that wanting too much was dangerous. You may have heard that people like you should be realistic. You may have been told not to become too confident. You may have watched adults struggle and concluded that ease belonged to someone else. You may have learned that money always brought conflict. You may have learned that love required sacrifice without limit. You may have learned that rest had to be earned through exhaustion. You may have learned that asking for help made you weak. You may have learned that speaking clearly made you difficult. You may have learned that good things never lasted. You may have learned that praise was followed by pressure. You may have learned that being visible invited criticism. You may have learned to reduce your hopes before anyone else could reduce them for you. These messages may not have been spoken directly. They may have been communicated through expressions, silences, repeated arguments, or the choices you saw around you. A child does not always separate another person's fear from the truth of life. A child may absorb a warning as a rule. A child may observe one family pattern and believe it describes the whole world. Then the child grows older, but the rule remains active. Do not ask. Do not trust. Do not expect. Do not relax. Do not become visible. Do not have too much. Do not depend on anyone. Do not believe good news until it has survived every possible test. These rules may have once helped you belong. They may have helped you avoid conflict. They may have helped you understand the emotional climate around you. They may have helped you stay connected to people whose approval mattered. Now you can examine them. You can decide which beliefs still serve your life. You can keep the wisdom and release the fear. You can respect where you came from without repeating every limitation you inherited. You are allowed to create a relationship with rest that your family did not know. You are allowed to speak more clearly than you were taught. You are allowed to build stability through skills, planning, support, and patient effort. You are allowed to choose relationships where care and responsibility move in both directions. You are allowed to experience success without apologizing for it. You are allowed to change your mind when new information appears. You are allowed to become more hopeful without becoming careless. This process is not betrayal. Growth may feel disloyal when struggle has been part of your belonging. You may worry that changing your life means judging the people who could not change theirs. You may feel guilty for wanting more peace than they had. You may feel uneasy when your circumstances begin to improve. You may hear an inner warning that says you are leaving someone behind. You can love people without reproducing their pain. You can honor their endurance without making endurance your only path. You can appreciate what they gave while choosing differently where their choices caused harm. You can carry their love forward without carrying every fear. Your growth does not erase their story. Your steadiness does not insult their struggle. Your willingness to learn new ways can become one form of respect for everything it took to bring you here. There may also be beliefs you formed from your own experiences. You trusted one person and were deceived. You tried one path and failed. You spoke honestly and were rejected. You took a risk and lost something important. You asked for help and were dismissed. You waited with faith and received a painful answer. The mind may have turned each event into a permanent conclusion. No one can be trusted. I always fail. My truth makes people leave. Risk only leads to loss. Help is never available. Hope makes pain worse. These conclusions may feel logical because they were formed in moments of strong emotion. Pain often speaks in absolute language. Always, never, everyone, no one, nothing, forever. The intensity of the experience makes the conclusion feel complete. Yet one event, or even several events, may not describe every future possibility. It may describe what happened with a particular person. It may describe what happened under particular conditions. It may reveal a skill you needed and had not yet developed. It may show you where a boundary was absent. It may show you what warning signs you overlooked. It may reveal that the goal, timing, strategy, or environment was not supportive. It may show you where you need different information. It may also be a painful event that cannot be turned into a neat lesson. Not every wound needs to be justified. Not every loss needs to be explained as preparation for something better. Some experiences are simply painful. They deserve grief. They deserve compassion. They deserve time. You do not have to force meaning before meaning is ready. You do not have to call suffering a gift. You can say that something hurt and still decide that it will not define every choice you make afterward. That decision may need to be made more than once. The old conclusion may return when you feel tired. It may return when a new situation resembles the past. It may return when you begin to care. It may return when you are close to receiving something you once believed was unavailable. This return does not mean you have failed. It means a familiar response has been activated. You can meet it as information rather than prophecy. You can ask what support is needed now. You can slow down. You can check the facts. You can speak with someone trustworthy. You can review your options. You can give yourself time before making a decision. You can choose not to act from panic. You can choose not to call fear intuition merely because fear speaks quickly. Inner guidance is often quieter than alarm. It does not always demand immediate certainty. It may point toward one honest next step. It may tell you to ask a question. It may tell you to wait for more information. It may tell you that something is not right. It may tell you that an old fear is being awakened in a new and safer place. Learning the difference takes practice. You are not expected to know perfectly. You can combine inner reflection with evidence, experience, and wise counsel. This is what grounded trust looks like. It does not place all responsibility on a feeling. It brings your whole intelligence into the decision. Your history matters. Your body's signals matter. The facts matter. The pattern of another person's behavior matters. Professional guidance may matter. Your values matter. The cost of the decision matters. Your hopes matter too. Nothing has to be excluded. Alignment is sometimes described as a state in which everything feels certain, effortless, and immediately clear. Real life is rarely that simple. You may be moving in a supportive direction while still feeling afraid. You may be making a wise choice while grieving what it requires you to leave. You may be ready for a new chapter while missing the old one. You may feel hopeful and cautious in the same hour. You may know what needs to be done and still wish it were different. Mixed feelings do not automatically mean you are on the wrong path. They may mean that the decision matters. They may mean that one part of you is moving forward while another needs time to catch up. True alignment is not emotional perfection. It is not a permanent state of confidence. It is not the absence of doubt. It is not the ability to remain positive every moment. It is not a reward for saying the right words. It is not proof that every external condition will become easy. It is a growing agreement between what you value, what you are ready to practice, what you are willing to face, and the actions you are prepared to take. It includes openness. It includes timing. It includes discernment. It includes your willingness to respond when the next step becomes clear. Readiness does not mean that you know everything. It means you are becoming able to meet what comes. You may not know exactly how a new opportunity will appear, but you can strengthen the skills that help you recognize and use it. You may not know when a healthy relationship will enter your life, but you can become clearer about your standards, your patterns, and the kind of communication you are willing to practice. You may not know how a financial situation will improve, but you can seek accurate information, reduce avoidable harm, ask for qualified advice, and take one responsible step at a time. You may not know what your body needs, but you can listen to symptoms, pursue appropriate care, and stop blaming yourself for needing support. You may not know where a creative path will lead, but you can make the work, learn the craft, and let experience teach you. You may not know whether someone will return, apologize, or change, but you can decide what treatment you will accept. This is not passive hope. It is hope with a foundation. It does not demand that you predict the whole outcome. It asks you to remain available to your own wisdom. Openness means you do not close every possibility before it has had the chance to become real. It does not mean you accept every offer. It does not mean you remain available to every person. It does not mean you abandon standards. It means fear is not the only voice allowed to speak. Caution may speak. Experience may speak. Desire may speak. Reason may speak. Your values may speak. Supportive people may speak. The evidence may speak. Then you decide with more of yourself present. Timing means that some processes cannot be rushed without losing something important. Trust takes time to form. Skills take time to build. Grief takes time to move. Bodies take time to recover. Plans take time to develop. Relationships take time to reveal their patterns. Opportunities may depend on conditions beyond your control. Other people have choices. Systems have limitations. Resources may be uneven. Life does not always follow an emotional deadline. This can be difficult when your need feels urgent. Your longing is real. Your impatience may come from pain. You may be tired of waiting. You may need relief now. You do not have to pretend that delay feels easy. You can acknowledge the urgency and still avoid making promises that no one can guarantee. Expectation without a deadline is not indifference. It is the willingness to believe that support, movement, or new possibility may exist without demanding that you know its exact hour and form. It leaves room for preparation. It leaves room for revision. It leaves room for opportunities that do not arrive according to the first plan. It leaves room for your own understanding to mature. You can remain devoted to a direction while releasing one rigid schedule. You can continue taking real steps while no longer using every delay as evidence against yourself. This kind of expectation is quieter. It does not need to announce that something extraordinary is about to happen. It does not turn ordinary coincidences into commands. It does not ask you to surrender judgment. It does not insist that every setback is secretly a blessing. It stays close to what is true. You do not know everything that will happen. You do know that life can change. You do know that people learn. You do know that choices accumulate. You do know that support can appear through practical channels. You do know that your interpretation can widen. You do know that a closed belief can become less absolute. You do know that one honest action can alter what becomes possible next. You do know that rest can improve the quality of tomorrow's decisions. This is enough for one night. Miracles do not need to be understood as dramatic violations of reality. They can be the quiet rearrangements you could not have predicted. A conversation happens at the right time. A person gives information you did not know you needed. A delay prevents you from committing too quickly. A rejection turns your attention toward a better fit. A skill you learned years ago becomes useful now. A boundary creates the space where self-respect can return. A period of rest gives you the clarity that effort could not produce. An old belief loses enough authority for you to make a different choice. These moments may not remove every difficulty. They may not look impressive to anyone else. Their value can still be real. You do not have to call every positive event miraculous. You do not have to search for hidden meaning in everything. You can appreciate support without exaggerating it. You can let a helpful moment be helpful. You can let good timing be good timing. You can let progress be progress. You can let relief be relief. This grounded way of seeing protects your hope from becoming fragile. Hope becomes fragile when it depends on constant signs. It becomes fragile when every unexpected event is interpreted as a message. It becomes fragile when one difficult day is treated as a spiritual failure. It becomes fragile when you believe that doubt has the power to cancel your future. A stronger hope can include uncertainty. It can include practical limits. It can include grief. It can include honest evidence. It can say, I do not know how this will unfold, and I am still willing to meet the next step. It can say, I care about this outcome, and my worth does not depend on it. It can say, I am open to support, and I will also act where action is mine. It can say, I can listen inwardly without ignoring reality. It can say, I can change direction without calling the earlier effort wasted. It can say, I can protect myself without closing my life. This hope does not need to shout. It does not need to defeat every fearful thought. It can remain beside fear. It can outlast a difficult hour. It can return after disappointment. It can become part of the way you treat yourself. Across these evenings, you may begin to feel the difference between forcing belief and practicing willingness. Forcing belief says that you must be certain. Willingness says that you can remain available. Forcing belief says that doubt is dangerous. Willingness says that doubt can be heard without being obeyed. Forcing belief says that the future must match one picture. Willingness says that the qualities you seek may reach you through more than one path. Forcing belief says that delay means failure. Willingness says that time may still be carrying information. Forcing belief exhausts the mind. Willingness creates room. You may not yet believe that a better life can feel natural. You can be willing to learn. You may not yet trust that support can arrive. You can be willing to recognize it when it does. You may not yet know how to release an old pattern. You can be willing to see the pattern more clearly. You may not yet feel safe with success, love, rest, or stability. You can be willing to take one step toward greater safety. You may not feel ready to make a large change. You can be willing to consider a smaller one. A smaller willingness is not a lesser practice. It can be the most honest place to begin. Honesty creates more room than performance. A truthful sentence can reach parts of you that an exaggerated promise cannot. You do not have to say that everything is wonderful. You can say that you are open to one supportive possibility. You do not have to say that you have no fear. You can say that fear does not have to make every decision. You do not have to say that the past no longer affects you. You can say that the past is not the only source of information available now. You do not have to say that you trust life completely. You can say that you are learning to trust your ability to respond. That ability may become one of your deepest forms of security, not the belief that nothing difficult will happen, not the promise that every desire will be fulfilled, the knowledge that you can meet yourself with honesty, the knowledge that you can seek support, the knowledge that you can revise your path, the knowledge that you can leave what harms you, the knowledge that you can rest and begin again, the knowledge that disappointment does not erase every possibility, the knowledge that your life can contain more than one meaningful future. This is where alignment becomes practical. It is not an escape from life. It is a way of standing more fully inside it. You bring your hopes. You bring your history. You bring your caution. You bring your wisdom. You bring your imperfect readiness. You bring the next action that belongs to you. Then you leave room for what does not belong to you. You do not have to control another person's choice. You do not have to control the exact timing. You do not have to control every condition. You do not have to control how quickly your emotions change. You do not have to control the who, the path before taking one step. For this night, you can let readiness be enough. You can let openness be modest. You can let trust be unfinished. You can let your deeper mind learn through repetition rather than pressure. You can let one grounded truth remain with you as you move closer to sleep. Your protective patterns were learned. What was learned can be understood. What is understood can be met differently. What is met differently can begin to loosen. No force is required. Only honesty, only patience, only the next sincere return. There comes a point when understanding must become more than an idea. You may recognize why you learned to doubt. You may understand why you became watchful. You may see how disappointment shaped the way you approach hope. This understanding is meaningful. Still, the deeper mind does not change through explanation alone. It learns through experience. It learns from what is repeated without threat. It learns from the tone you use with yourself. It learns when a new thought is offered without demanding immediate agreement. It learns when your body is not being pushed to produce a feeling. It learns when the same safe message returns night after night and is permitted to settle at its own pace. This is why you do not need to force tonight's words into belief. You do not need to memorize them. You do not need to hold them tightly until morning. You can hear them as possibilities. You can let them rest near the places in you that have expected difficulty. You can let the part of you that is tired remain tired. You can let the doubtful part listen from a distance. You can let the hopeful part come closer without asking it to promise anything. The deeper mind often changes through quiet familiarity. A thought that once felt impossible becomes less strange. A choice that once felt frightening becomes more understandable. A peaceful response that once felt unnatural begins to feel available. Nothing dramatic may occur in the moment, yet a small inner resistance can soften. A rigid conclusion can become a question. A closed door in your thinking can become slightly less absolute. You may begin to say, "I do not know," where you once said, "This will never happen." That difference matters. "I do not know" contains space. It does not guarantee a result. It does not deny the past. It does not ask you to become naive. It simply stops fear from declaring the future complete. Tonight, you can let uncertainty become spacious rather than threatening. You do not know every possibility that remains. You do not know every decision that may change your direction. You do not know which conversation may bring clarity. You do not know which skill will become important. You do not know what another person may choose. You do not know what strength may develop through the next season. You do not know how differently you may see your life after many nights of rest, reflection, and steadier self-respect. Not knowing can be uncomfortable. It can also mean that the story is unfinished. Think of a large puzzle spread across a quiet surface. There are many pieces. Some are bright, some are dark. Some carry only a narrow line. Some appear almost empty until they are placed beside the pieces that give them meaning. At first, the picture is difficult to recognize. There are scattered colors and disconnected edges. A small section begins to form, but the whole remains unclear. You may pick up one piece and turn it several times. It seems as though it should fit somewhere. The color appears right. The shape seems close. You press it toward one space. It does not settle. You try another. Still, it does not belong there. Nothing is wrong with the piece. Nothing is wrong with the unfinished picture. The placement is not yet clear. This is how many parts of life can feel. You have experiences that appear unrelated. You have skills that do not yet seem useful. You have delays that seem empty. You have lessons you did not ask to learn. You have desires that remain without a visible place. You have parts of yourself that you have tried to understand separately. Your courage sits in one area. Your grief sits in another. Your patience appears far from your ambition. Your caution seems disconnected from your hope. Your past seems unrelated to the person you are trying to become. From a close distance, the pieces can look like fragments. You may assume that the picture is failing because you cannot yet see how they belong together. You may hold one experience and ask why it had to happen. You may hold one skill and wonder whether the effort was wasted. You may hold one delay and decide that time has been lost. You may hold one relationship and question whether anything meaningful came from it. You may hold one attempt and see only the result that did not arrive. Yet a piece does not reveal its entire purpose while it is held alone. Its meaning becomes clearer through relationship. A line continues, a color meets another color, an edge becomes part of a larger shape. What appeared incomplete begins to support something beyond itself. You may not yet know how every part of your life will be understood. Some experiences may never become neat or easy to explain. Some losses will remain losses. Some pain will deserve to be named without being transformed into a lesson. Still, the life you are building can include what you have learned. Your future can use wisdom that was formed under difficult conditions. Your boundaries can carry information from the times when you had none. Your compassion can remain without requiring you to repeat your suffering. Your discernment can become part of the way you choose what fits. There are pieces you may have tried to force into places where they did not belong. And ship looked close to what you wanted, so you tried to make its shape acceptable. An opportunity resembled success, so you ignored the ways it conflicted with your values. A plan seemed like the only path forward, so you pushed against every sign that it needed revision. A role gave you approval, so you remained even when it required you to hide important parts of yourself. You may have pressed harder because you believed effort could correct the mismatch. If you became more patient, perhaps the person would become consistent. If you worked longer, perhaps the environment would become healthy. If you explained yourself more clearly, perhaps someone committed to misunderstanding you would finally listen. If you lowered your needs, perhaps the arrangement would become sustainable. If you ignored your exhaustion, perhaps the opportunity would prove worth the cost. The piece looked almost right, so you kept pressing. When it still did not settle, you blamed yourself. You questioned your strength. You questioned your worth. You questioned your ability to create a meaningful life. You may not have considered that the space and the piece were not meant for each other. A mismatch is not always a personal failure. Sometimes it is information. Sometimes it reveals that the conditions are wrong. Sometimes it shows that a boundary is needed. Sometimes it asks you to stop trying to earn a place that requires self-abandonment. Sometimes it means the goal needs a different method. Sometimes it means the picture is not what you first believed it was. You are permitted to stop forcing what repeatedly refuses to fit. This does not mean you leave at the first difficulty. Many worthwhile things require patience, communication, adjustment, learning, and sustained effort. The difference is not whether something is easy. The difference is whether the effort moves toward greater truth, mutual care, stability, and integrity, or whether the effort repeatedly asks you to disappear. A fitting piece may still require attention. It may need to be turned. It may need to be viewed from another angle. You may need to clear the space around it. Yet when it finds its place, it does not need to be crushed into position. It settles. The edges meet. The shape makes sense. There is a quiet recognition. This belongs here. Your life may contain such moments. A conversation feels honest without requiring performance. A friendship permits both closeness and boundaries. A form of work uses strengths you once treated as unrelated. A new routine supports your body instead of punishing it. A decision creates relief even while it requires courage. A place, practice, or community lets you participate without hiding. A new understanding connects experiences that once seemed scattered. You do not have to call these moments perfect. You do not have to believe they will remove every difficulty. You can recognize the difference between what constantly demands force and what responds to sincere participation. The deeper mind can learn this difference. It can learn that not every delay is rejection. It can learn that not every challenge means a mismatch. It can learn that effort does not need to become self-punishment. It can learn that rest can be part of completion. It can learn that your life is not an empty space waiting for one external thing to make it whole. This is important. The final piece does not create the entire picture. The picture already contains thousands of connections. It contains every piece that has been placed. It contains every section that has slowly become visible. It contains every edge you found. It contains every hour of patient attention. The remaining space is real, but it does not erase what is already present. You may have looked at one unfilled area in your life and concluded that everything was incomplete. One relationship is missing, and you overlook the love that exists in other forms. One financial goal remains distant, and you overlook the skills and responsible choices that have already strengthened you. One answer has not arrived, and you overlook the clarity gained through asking the question. One opportunity has not appeared, and you overlook the preparation taking place. One part of your identity remains uncertain, and you overlook everything you already know about your values. The gap becomes so important that the rest of the picture disappears from your attention. Tonight, you can acknowledge the gap without letting it define the whole. You may still want what you want. You may still care deeply. You may still take action. You may still seek support. You may still return tomorrow to the work that matters. At the same time, you can remember that your life already contains form, meaning, experience, connection, and possibility. You are not an empty surface waiting for worth to arrive. You are not a collection of mistakes waiting for one success to correct them. You are not a failed picture because one area remains unresolved. There is already more here than fear has permitted you to see. There are qualities you have developed quietly. There are choices you handled with greater wisdom than you once had. There are moments when you protected yourself. There are moments when you apologized. There are moments when you began again. There are moments when you accepted help. There are moments when you refuse to repeat an old pattern. There are moments when you stayed with a difficult truth. There are moments when you rested instead of reacting. There are moments when you acted despite uncertainty. Each one belongs to the larger picture. You may not have celebrated them because they did not look dramatic. They still count. The deeper mind is shaped not only by major events, but by repeated small responses. Every time you speak to yourself with less cruelty, a peace settles. Every time you question an inherited limitation, a peace settles. Every time you protect a necessary boundary, a peace settles. Every time you choose facts over panic, a peace settles. Every time you ask for qualified help, a peace settles. Every time you refuse to turn a delay into a verdict, a peace settles. Every time you let rest support action, a peace settles. Not all at once, not through pressure, through repetition, through honesty, through returning. You may have believed that your better life was somewhere far away, fully formed and waiting for you to reach it. It may be more truthful to say that you are participating in its formation now. It is present in the standard you set. It is present in the skill you practice. It is present in the treatment you no longer accept. It is present in the support you seek. It is present in the decision to care for your body. It is present in the way you respond after making a mistake. It is present in the way you stop measuring your worth through one outcome. It is present in the way you let new information change your plan. The picture grows through these choices. Then there are moments when something arrives that you could not create alone. Another person responds. An opening appears. A resource becomes available. A needed answer becomes clearer. A connection forms. A timing changes. A piece you could not identify finally shows where it belongs. You participate, but you do not control every part. This is why force has limits. You can search carefully. You can prepare. You can organize what is in front of you. You can make thoughtful choices. You can ask questions. You can act. Yet you cannot command every piece to appear according to your preferred schedule. Some pieces belong to choices that other people have not made. Some depend on information you have not yet received. Some become visible only after another section has formed. Some are not missing at all. They are lying face down, their meaning temporarily hidden. When you believe that everything depends on your constant mental effort, rest can feel dangerous. You fear that the picture will stop forming if you stop thinking about it. You fear that an opportunity will disappear if you stop watching. You fear that your desire will lose energy if you sleep. You fear that letting go for one evening means you no longer care. But the picture does not vanish because you close your eyes. What you have learned remains. The choices you made remain. The conversations already begun remain. The practical steps already taken remain. The unanswered question remains available for tomorrow. Your life does not require continuous tension to remember what matters to you. Tonight, you can place the piece down. You can stop turning it for a while. You can stop testing every space. You can let your hands rest. There will be time to look again with clearer vision. There will be time to recognize what needs action. There will be time to revise what does not work. There will be time to ask for guidance. Sleep is not the abandonment of your life. Sleep is one of the ways you return to it. Across these nights, you may imagine the same quiet scene. 1,000 pieces have gradually found their places. The surface holds colors, lines, shapes, and patterns. One open space remains. You do not stare at it as evidence of failure. You do not curse the missing shape. You do not tear apart the sections that are complete. You do not decide that the entire picture has no value. You remain present. You trust that clear seeing can take time. Then the final piece rests in your fingers. You turn it once. There is no panic in the movement. There is no demand that it become something other than what it is. You bring it toward the remaining space. The edges correspond. The shape belongs. The piece settles without force. The quietness of the moment may surprise you. After so much searching, completion does not need to be loud. There may be no great announcement, only recognition, only the sense that what has been forming can now be seen differently. The piece did not make the picture worthy. It revealed a wholeness that had been developing all along. Let this image become a new message for your deeper mind. You do not need to force what is meant to fit. You do not need to diminish yourself to enter the wrong space. You do not need to call every open area a failure. You can keep preparing the picture through real choices. You can remain available to what belongs. You can trust that recognition may become clearer with time. The life that supports you will not require you to violate your deepest values in order to claim it. The relationship that supports you will not require endless self-erasure. The work that supports you may ask for effort, growth, discipline, and courage, but it will not need you to deny your humanity. The choices that support you may still feel unfamiliar. They may still awaken fear. Yet beneath the fear, there can be a quiet correspondence between who you are becoming and what you are choosing. You do not have to identify that correspondence perfectly tonight. You can begin by offering your deeper mind one simple sentence. Let the words arrive without pressure. They do not have to feel completely true. They only need enough room to be heard. My deeper mind welcomes life's fitting peace. Let that sentence remain for a moment. It does not say that one person, one opportunity, or one result must complete you. It does not say that you should wait without action. It does not say that everything will happen exactly as imagined. It says that your inner world can become more receptive to what genuinely supports the life you are building. It says that you can recognize compatibility more clearly. It says that you can stop worshiping the wrong fit merely because you have invested time in it. It says that you can remain open without becoming unprotected. It says that what belongs does not have to be forced through fear. You may sense resistance. A part of you may answer that nothing has fit before. A part of you may say that it has waited too long. A part of you may distrust the entire idea. Do not argue with that part. Let it have its honest response. Then offer the sentence again, not as a command, but as a possibility. My deeper mind welcomes life's fitting peace. You are not trying to overpower doubt. You are giving doubt a different experience. It expects criticism, and you give patience. It expects pressure, and you give space. It expects to be removed, and you let it remain without letting it control the whole practice. This is how trust can begin. Not because doubt disappears, because your relationship with doubt changes. If the full sentence feels too distant, use a smaller truth. I am willing to recognize what fits. That is enough. Willingness can be quiet. It can coexist with caution. It can coexist with tiredness. It can coexist with a difficult day. You do not have to feel inspired. You do not have to create a powerful emotion. You can lie here exactly as you are and let willingness be almost unnoticeable. A small opening is still an opening. There may be parts of your life where you already know what does not fit. Your body becomes tense before a repeated interaction. Your energy drops when you agree to something that violates your limits. Your mind becomes confused around a person whose words and behavior constantly contradict each other. You feel pressure to perform a version of yourself that earns temporary approval. You keep explaining basic needs to someone who benefits from ignoring them. You continue a habit that gives immediate relief but creates deeper difficulty. Recognition may begin there. Welcoming what fits can include releasing what clearly does not. This does not always require a dramatic decision tonight. It may begin with naming the truth. It may begin with gathering information. It may begin with a private boundary. It may begin with a conversation. It may begin with professional advice. It may begin with admitting that the current approach is not working. It may begin with deciding that tomorrow's action will be small but real. You are not asked to resolve every mismatch before sleep. You are strengthening the part of you that can recognize correspondence. The part that can say yes with greater clarity. The part that can say no without turning self-protection into guilt. The part that can remain patient without becoming passive. The part that can adjust without calling adjustment failure. The part that can leave room for something more suitable than the first option. The part that can build a better life from the inside and the outside together. Your deeper mind may have spent years repeating old conclusions. It may need time with a new one. This is why the sentence returns. not to hypnotize you into believing an impossible promise, not to erase discernment, not to replace practical effort. It returns so that another pattern becomes familiar, a pattern in which you do not have to force belonging, a pattern in which you do not define yourself through the gap, a pattern in which completion is not confused with worth, a pattern in which you can prepare, participate, and rest. Hear the sentence once more. Let it be softer now. Let it move through you without needing an answer. My deeper mind welcomes life's fitting peace. You may keep that line with you through the coming nights. Some nights it may feel comforting. Some nights it may feel neutral. Some nights resistance may answer immediately. Every response can be present. The practice does not depend on a perfect reaction. You are creating familiarity with the possibility that your life can become more supportive, more honest, and more suited to the person you are becoming. You are creating familiarity with the possibility that good choices do not always require strain. You are creating familiarity with the possibility that peace and progress can exist together. You are creating familiarity with the possibility that the right space will not demand the destruction of your shape. You remain responsible for your actions. You remain attentive to reality. You remain free to revise your direction. You remain worthy before the final piece arrives. The picture is not waiting to begin. It is already forming. It is forming in every clear boundary. It is forming in every responsible step. It is forming in every honest conversation. It is forming in every moment of rest that prevents fear from making tomorrow's decisions. It is forming when you stop attacking yourself for being unfinished. You do not need to rush completion. You do not need to deny the open space. You can hold both truths. Something remains unresolved. Much has already become whole. Let your body learn this balance. Let your breathing continue without supervision. Let the muscles around your eyes soften. Let your hands become less involved in holding the day together. There is nothing more to press into place right now. No piece needs to be tested tonight. No gap needs to be judged. No picture needs to be completed before you are permitted to sleep. What belongs to tomorrow can wait for tomorrow. What has already been learned can rest within you. What is still becoming clear can remain unfinished. Your deeper mind does not need force. It needs safety. It needs repetition. It needs honest words. It needs your willingness to return without punishment. Tonight, you have returned. That is enough. Readiness does not mean standing still and hoping the missing piece finds you. It means creating a life in which you can recognize what supports you when it appears. It means becoming less willing to force a fit that repeatedly asks you to betray yourself. It means strengthening your ability to respond. It means remaining open without surrendering your judgment. You do not have to choose between trust and action. Wise action can be one expression of trust. You can believe that more is possible and still make the call. You can welcome support and still complete the application. You can expect improvement and still examine the numbers honestly. You can become calmer and still ask the difficult question. You can hold a hopeful intention and still leave a situation that continues to cause harm. You can rest tonight and take responsibility tomorrow. There is no conflict in this. Your inner life and your practical life are not opposing forces. They can work together. A clear thought can lead to a clearer choice. A settled body can make it easier to distinguish urgency from importance. Greater self-respect can change the opportunities you accept. A stronger boundary can remove pieces that never belonged in your picture. A willingness to ask for help can make space for knowledge you could not provide for yourself. This is how openness becomes grounded. It does not wait for life to do everything. It does not assume that effort alone controls every result. It recognizes partnership. Some parts belong to you. Some parts belong to time. Some parts belong to other people and their freedom to choose. Some parts depend on conditions you cannot command. You do what is yours without pretending that everything is yours. This can be a deep relief. You are not responsible for controlling the entire picture. You are responsible for the pieces currently within your reach. The conversation you can begin, the truth you can admit, the habit you can change, the information you can seek, the boundary you can protect, the apology you can offer, the rest you can take, the plan you can revise, the help you can request. These may seem smaller than the outcome you want. They are still meaningful. The larger picture is formed through small placements. 1,000 pieces do not settle through one dramatic movement. One connection becomes clear. Then another, a section forms, an edge becomes visible. A detail that once seemed unrelated begins to belong. Your life can develop in the same patient way. You may be tempted to dismiss the next step because it does not complete everything. You may say that one phone call will not solve the whole problem. One healthy meal will not transform your body. One honest conversation will not repair years of difficulty. One application will not create a career. One evening of rest will not change an old pattern. One boundary will not rebuild your self-respect. This may be true. One step may not complete the picture. It can still place one piece correctly. That placement changes what becomes easier to recognize next. A single action can provide information. It can reveal whether an opportunity is real. It can show you what additional support is needed. It can make the next choice less abstract. It can interrupt the belief that you are powerless. It can show your deeper mind that change is not only something you imagine, it is something you participate in. You do not have to demand immediate transformation from each step. Let the step be a step. Let one honest action have its own value. Let one evening of rest support one clearer morning. Let one boundary reduce one repeated injury. Let one request create one chance for support. Let one decision become evidence that an old pattern is no longer the only pattern available. This is enough movement for a real life. You may have learned to value only outcomes. You may overlook everything that happens before the visible result. You may ignore the courage it took to begin. You may ignore the discipline that kept you returning. You may ignore the wisdom that helped you change direction. You may ignore the self-respect required to stop. You may ignore the patience needed to learn. You may ignore the emotional work of becoming able to receive what you once pushed away. Then, because the final image is not yet complete, you tell yourself that nothing has happened. Something has happened. You have become more honest. You have become more discerning. You have learned what does not belong. You have survived the disappointment of one picture changing. You have continued arranging what remains. You have developed capacities that were not present when you began. These capacities travel with you. Even when one plan ends, your learning does not disappear. Even when one relationship changes, your clearer standards remain. Even when one effort does not produce the intended result, the skill developed through the effort may remain useful. Even when the piece was not meant for that space, holding it taught you something about its shape. Nothing needs to be praised falsely. You do not have to call every painful experience necessary. You can still recognize what you now know. You know more about what drains you. You know more about what restores you. You know more about the difference between attention and care. You know more about the difference between chemistry and consistency. You know more about the difference between ambition and self-punishment. You know more about the difference between patience and avoidance. You know more about the difference between openness and exposure. This knowledge is part of your readiness. It helps you identify what truly corresponds with your value, S. It helps you stop mistaking familiar tension for belonging. It helps you stop calling repeated confusion a deep connection. It helps you stop choosing what looks impressive but leaves you divided inside. It helps you remain with what is steady long enough to understand its worth. The right fit may not always create immediate excitement. Sometimes what supports you feels quiet. It feels consistent. It gives you room to think. It does not require constant guessing. It does not make you earn basic respect. It does not alternate between intense attention and painful absence. It does not depend on you ignoring the evidence in front of you. A supportive opportunity may still challenge you. It may require new skills. It may expose areas where you need to grow. It may create temporary discomfort. Yet the discomfort of growth differs from the pain of repeated self-betrayal. Growth can make you more fully yourself. Self-betrayal makes your life smaller. Growth can ask you to practice. Self-betrayal asks you to disappear. Growth can reveal weakness without defining you through it. Self-betrayal teaches you to treat your needs as obstacles. Your body may help you learn the difference. Not through one sensation treated as perfect truth, but through patterns, observed over time. How do you feel after repeated contact with this person? Do their actions support their promises? Can disagreement occur without punishment? Are your boundaries respected? Does the opportunity support your values as well as your ambitions? Is the effort difficult because you are learning, or difficult because the conditions are harmful? Does the choice expand your capacity, or does it require you to abandon your well-being? You are allowed to take these questions seriously. Openness does not ask you to override them. Receiving does not mean accepting whatever appears. A space in a puzzle has a particular shape. Not every piece belongs there. You do not prove your receptivity by pressing every possibility into your life. You show discernment by paying attention to correspondence. A piece can be beautiful and still not belong in that space. An opportunity can be valuable and still not be right for you. A person can possess good qualities and still be unable to participate in the relationship you need. A path can work for someone else and remain unsuitable for your circumstances. A goal can once have mattered and no longer represent who you are becoming. Releasing a mismatch is not a rejection of all good. It is the creation of clearer space. You may feel grief when you accept that something does not fit. Relief and grief can arrive together. You may know that leaving is wise and still miss what you hoped the situation would become. You may understand that a plan must change and still mourn the version you imagined. You may protect yourself and still care. You may decline an opportunity and still wonder what might have happened. These feelings do not invalidate the choice. They show that you are capable of attachment, imagination, and hope. You do not need to remove every feeling before moving wisely. You can carry tenderness without returning to harm. You can feel uncertainty without reopening a boundary that protects you. You can miss a person without denying the pattern. You can grieve an outcome without deciding that no other future can hold meaning. A clearer picture often requires accepting that some pieces were never part of it. You may have arranged your entire future around one expected shape. When that shape is removed, the open space can seem larger. For a while, you may not know what belongs there. Do not rush to fill it merely to escape the discomfort of seeing it empty. An open space can remain open while you recover your clarity. You do not have to replace one relationship immediately. You do not have to choose another plan before understanding why the earlier one became unsustainable. You do not have to prove that you are moving forward by moving quickly. You can let the surrounding pieces become clearer first. You can rebuild trust in your own perception. You can seek support. You can learn. You can rest. You can let your standards become less negotiable. Then, when another possibility appears, you will meet it with more of yourself present. This is one reason rest matters. Exhaustion makes urgency convincing. When you are depleted, the first available option may look like the only option. A familiar peace may seem suitable merely because you are too tired to keep searching. You may agree because you cannot tolerate another discussion. You may return because loneliness has become louder than memory. You may accept conditions you would question if your mind were clearer. Rest cannot solve every problem. It can help you approach a problem with more resources. Tonight, you can let sleep become part of your discernment. The unresolved spaces will remain until morning. You do not have to fill them from exhaustion. You do not have to decide from fear. You do not have to send the message tonight. You do not have to reopen the conversation tonight. You do not have to understand the entire plan tonight. You can choose to wait until your body has received some care. This pause is not always avoidance. It can be preparation. Tomorrow you may still decide that action is needed. You may still make a difficult choice. You may still face uncertainty, but you can meet it with a mind that has not been forced to work without rest. There may also be times when waiting has become a way of hiding. You may tell yourself that you are trusting timing when you are actually afraid to begin. You may keep preparing long after you have enough information for the first step. You may wait for complete confidence. You may wait for every possible risk to disappear. You may wait for permission from people who benefit from your hesitation. You may call the delay patience because fear feels uncomfortable to name. This deserves kindness too. You do not need to accuse yourself. You can ask one honest question. What action have I already known is mine? The answer may be small. Write the first page. Make the appointment. Review the account. Ask for clarification. Update the document. Tell the truth. Decline the invitation. Take the walk. Submit the work. Seek qualified guidance. You do not need a dramatic surge of confidence. You can act while your confidence is still developing. Courage is not always a strong feeling. It can be a quiet decision made beside fear. The deeper mind learns from these decisions. Each one says that uncertainty does not make you helpless. Each one says that fear can be present without choosing the direction. Each one says that you can contribute to the picture without controlling the whole design. This is balanced readiness. You prepare without obsessing. You act without demanding guarantees. You rest without abandoning responsibility. You remain open without accepting harm. You hope without making your worth dependent on an outcome. You recognize the limits of your control without collapsing into passivity. This balance may not feel natural at first. Old habits may pull you toward extremes. You may grip tightly. Then, exhausted, you may stop trying entirely. You may trust too quickly. Then hurt, you may decide never to trust again. You may work without rest. Then you may become unable to continue. You may avoid every risk. Then you may feel trapped inside a life that never changes. The movement between extremes is understandable. You are learning a steadier center. In that center, effort and ease are not enemies. There are moments for focused work. There are moments for release. There are pieces you can place. There are pieces you cannot yet identify. There are choices that require courage. There are answers that require time. Wisdom is learning which moment you are in. You will not always know. You may act too soon. You may wait too long. You may misread a situation. You may choose a piece that later needs to be removed. This does not make the whole practice a failure. A real life includes revision. You are permitted to change what you once chose. You are permitted to learn from new evidence. You are permitted to say that something no longer fits. You are permitted to begin again without insulting the person who made the earlier decision. That person used the understanding available then. You have more information now. Let new information become useful. Do not turn it into another reason for punishment. Self-forgiveness creates room for better choices. It does not remove responsibility. It helps responsibility become constructive. Instead of spending all your energy attacking the past, you can use some of that energy to respond to the present. You can repair what can be repaired. You can apologize where an apology is needed. You can accept consequences. You can establish a new pattern. You can seek support for what you cannot change alone. You can stop repeating the choice. This is how one misplaced piece can be lifted without destroying the entire picture. You do not have to scatter everything. You can make one correction. You can preserve what remains true. You can continue. Your willingness to continue matters more than your ability to arrange every piece perfectly. Perfection is not the goal. Correspondence is. Integrity is. A growing agreement between your values and your actions is. A deeper respect for your limits is. A wider ability to recognize support is. A calmer response to uncertainty is. These are signs of meaningful change. They may not attract attention. They may not impress anyone. They can still transform the quality of your days. Across these nights, you may begin to recognize small evidence of this transformation. You pause before assuming the worst. You ask for facts. You recover from a difficult emotion more quickly. You stop repeating one cruel sentence to yourself. You make a decision without asking everyone to approve it. You leave one conversation before it becomes harmful. You accept one sincere compliment without arguing. You rest before completing everything. You permit one supportive possibility to remain open. These may be the signs worth reporting back to yourself. Tomorrow, there may be one small moment when your response differs from the old response. You may catch it only after it happens. You may choose patience where panic usually begins. You may feel the impulse to force and decide to wait for clearer information. You may recognize that something does not fit without making the mismatch mean that nothing will. You may take one action you have delayed. When you recognize such a moment, you can return and name it in a few simple words, not as proof of a guaranteed outcome, not as a performance, only as a record that a new response became available. You might say, I paused before reacting. You might say, I asked for help. You might say, I saw the old pattern. You might say, I chose what fit. That quiet report can become a way of honoring real change. The deeper mind learns when change is recognized. It learns when you stop overlooking every improvement because the larger goal remains unfinished. It learns when progress is permitted to count. Tonight, let that possibility rest nearby. Tomorrow may contain one small sign of a new relationship with yourself. You do not need to hunt for it. You do not need to turn the day into an examination. Live normally. Attend to what matters. Then, if a different pensée appears, let yourself recognize it. Your better life is not only an event waiting in the future, it is also the quality of the response you practice now. It is the kindness that replaces one inner attack. It is the boundary that prevents one repeated wound. It is the action that replaces 1 hour of helplessness. It is the pause that creates room for discernment. It is the willingness to let what fits arrive without forcing what does not. You are becoming more ready through these ordinary choices. You are becoming more available to support. You are becoming less willing to confuse struggle with worth. You are becoming more capable of holding hope without turning it into pressure. No announcement is required. The picture can form quietly. The next pieces can settle gradually. Your part tonight is to stop pressing. Your part is to let your hands rest. Your part is to trust that a pause does not erase your progress. The core sentence can return now, with less effort than before. My deeper mind welcomes life's fitting peace. Let it be heard. Let it pass through without argument. My deeper mind welcomes life's fitting peace. No force, no demand, only familiarity. My deeper mind welcomes life's fitting peace. If resistance answers, meet it with the smaller willingness. I am willing to recognize what fits. That willingness is enough to begin the rain of quieter thoughts. You do not need to hold them. You do not need to agree with each one. Let each line become one piece placed gently before sleep. I am open to a clearer fit. I trust one honest step. I release the need to force. I can wait for facts. I can act with care. I remain open and discerning. I choose what respects me. I welcome steady support. I let false urgency soften. I am safe to reconsider. I can revise my direction. I honor what I have learned. I do not chase belonging. I recognize consistent care. I make room for truth. I trust myself to respond. I can ask for help. I can rest before deciding. I release one rigid picture. I remain worthy while unfinished. I let progress count. I choose patience without hiding. I choose action without panic. I welcome what corresponds. I release what requires self-betrayal. I can grieve and continue. I trust clarity to grow. Time 2.0's I am learning what fits. I respect my own shape. I do not need to shrink. I let the next piece arrive. I meet tomorrow with steadiness. For now, let those lines become quieter. They do not need to create a strong feeling. They can remain as simple possibilities. One may stay with you. The others may fade. Your deeper mind can take what it is ready to receive. The picture does not need to be completed tonight. Your willingness has already placed something new. The quieter thoughts can continue without becoming another task. They do not need to convince you. They do not need to defeat every older belief. They can arrive one by one, remain for a moment, and settle where there is room. Some may feel familiar. Some may feel distant. Some may awaken disagreement. You are not required to correct the disagreement. A deeper pattern does not become safer by being argued into silence. Let the old response speak softly in the background while another possibility is given equal space. You have listened to fear for a long time. Tonight, fear does not have to leave. It only has to share the room. The picture before you is not being completed through force. One piece rests near another. One edge becomes easier to understand. One space remains open without becoming an emergency. Your hands do not need to hurry. Your mind does not need to test every possibility before sleep. You have already done enough for this day. Let the remaining lines become quieter as they continue. I can choose slowly. I welcome honest clarity. I release false pressure. I trust steady progress. I let support matter. I can change course. I remain open-minded. I honor my limits. I welcome mutual care. I choose what lasts. I trust useful timing. I release old urgency. I accept wise help. I let truth guide. I can begin again. I remain fully worthy. I welcome clear choices. I trust my learning. I release forced belonging. I choose inner steadiness. I welcome what fits. I rest with possibility. I am still becoming. I am safe here. Those words do not need to remain active in your mind. Let them move beyond deliberate thought. Let them become less like instructions and more like pieces placed on a quiet surface. Nothing needs to happen immediately. No sensation has to confirm that the words were heard. No emotional response is required. You may feel peaceful. You may feel neutral. You may still feel unsettled. Each state can be present without becoming a verdict. The deeper mind can hear a new message even while the surface mind remains busy. It can become familiar with a sentence before it knows whether it believes it. It can begin recognizing a new response through ordinary repetition. This is why returning matters more than performing. One night may give you rest. Another may reveal resistance. Another may pass almost unnoticed. Another may leave one phrase with you the following morning. You do not need to rank the nights. You do not need to decide which one worked. You do not need to inspect yourself for evidence before getting out of bed. The return itself creates continuity. Night after night, you place your attention beside a different possibility. You remind your mind that uncertainty does not always require panic. You remind your body that rest is not neglect. You remind your protective parts that they will not be punished for speaking. You remind yourself that openness and discernment can remain together. These messages may become more believable through the way you live them. You pause. You gather information. You set one boundary. You take one responsible action. You recover after reacting. You ask for support. You let a mismatch be information instead of proof that you are unwanted. Each lived response strengthens the words. The practice and the day begin supporting each other. The night offers a quieter pattern. The day gives the pattern somewhere to become real. You do not need to transform every area at once. A 1,000-piece picture is not built by demanding that every space be filled in the same moment. Attention moves to one section. The next connection appears. A piece that seemed meaningless becomes useful when the surrounding shapes are present. Your life may ask for the same patience. One area may be changing while another remains uncertain. Your work may become clearer while a relationship remains unresolved. Your boundaries may strengthen while confidence is still developing. Your practical situation may improve before your emotions have caught up. Your inner world may become steadier before the external result is visible. Change does not always arrive evenly. You do not need to call the unevenness failure. One part can form while another waits. You can appreciate what has become clearer without pretending that everything is complete. This is a more durable kind of gratitude. It does not erase the gap. It does not demand that you praise difficulty. It acknowledges what is true now. Something remains wanted. Something has also grown. A question remains. A skill has also developed. An outcome is uncertain. Your self-respect is becoming less uncertain. A plan is unfinished. Your ability to revise is stronger. A relationship has changed. Your understanding of mutual care is clearer. Both realities can exist. You do not need to choose between honest longing and recognition of what already supports you. You can want the final piece and still value the picture before it arrives. You can care about completion without making incompleteness unbearable. You can continue without attacking the present. This may be one of the most important changes your deeper mind can learn. The open space is not an emergency. The open space is not a judgment. The open space does not mean you have failed. It means the picture is still forming. There may be evenings when this feels easy to remember. There may be evenings when the gap seems to dominate everything again. A difficult conversation may reopen old fear. A delay may awaken the belief that nothing is moving. Someone else's progress may make your own path appear slow. A lonely hour may tell you that you should accept what you already know is wrong for you. On such nights, return to what is simple. Do not argue with the entire fear. Do not demand that yourself become wise, calm, and certain all at once. Return to one piece, one fact, one next step, one supportive person, one boundary, 1 hour of sleep. A large fear becomes harder to carry when it is treated as though every part must be solved immediately. You can reduce the demand. What is true tonight? You are here. You are breathing. Not every decision belongs to this hour. Not every conclusion has to be made from exhaustion. Tomorrow will bring more information than you have now. Your rested mind may see a connection that strain has hidden. This does not promise that every answer will be pleasant. It means you deserve to meet the answer with as much steadiness as is available. You deserve to make decisions from more than panic. You deserve to use every appropriate source of support. You deserve to take your own well-being seriously. This practice remains beside those real steps. It does not replace them. It can help you approach them without treating yourself as an enemy. You may think of the final piece again, not as a rescue, not as the one thing that grants your life value, only as a fitting addition to what has already been built. It turns once in the fingers. The movement is unhurried. Its shape does not change. The open space does not change. Recognition changes. The piece is seen accurately. The space is seen accurately. What belongs becomes clear. This is the kind of seeing you are practicing. You are not trying to make everything fit. You are becoming more capable of seeing what does. That difference can protect years of your life. You no longer need to keep pressing one answer into every question. You no longer need to remain loyal to a picture that requires endless denial. You can look again. You can turn the piece. You can examine the surrounding shapes. You can accept what the evidence shows. You can set down what does not belong. You can wait without calling the wait emptiness. You can continue building elsewhere. This flexibility does not weaken you. It keeps your life connected to truth. A rigid hope breaks when reality differs from its demand. A flexible hope adapts while preserving what matters. You may want love. The form may differ. You may want meaningful contribution. The route may change. You may want greater steadiness. The process may require support you did not expect to need. you may want a new beginning. It may start through an ending you resisted. The qualities can remain important even when the first picture is revised. Care, safety, purpose, stability, freedom, respect, belonging, creative expression. These qualities may find more than one form. You are permitted to recognize them where they genuinely appear. You are also permitted to reject an appearance that lacks the substance. A polished opportunity may lack respect. An intense connection may lack safety. A familiar role may lack room for growth. A fast solution may lack stability. A flattering promise may lack consistent action. Discernment sees beyond appearance. It studies the edges. It checks correspondence. It does not crush the piece into place because the color is attractive. You can carry this discernment into tomorrow. You do not have to announce it. It may appear as one extra question before agreement. It may appear as a pause before replying. It may appear as a request for clearer terms. It may appear as the decision to observe behavior over time. It may appear as the willingness to say that you need help understanding something. It may appear as a refusal to make an important choice while pressured. These are practical expressions of readiness. They create conditions in which a supportive fit can be recognized. You are not closing the door by becoming discerning. You are protecting the space where something honest can belong. Tonight, that space does not need to be filled. It can remain open. It can remain quiet. It can be held without fear. The rest of the picture remains before you. Much has already found its place. There are colors you could not see at the beginning. There are sections formed through effort you once thought was wasted. There are lines connected by choices you barely recognized as important. There is strength beside tenderness. There is caution beside hope. There is experience beside possibility. Nothing has to be removed from the picture merely because it does not match an idealized version of growth. Your history belongs without controlling every remaining space. Your doubt belongs without choosing every future piece. Your grief belongs without becoming the only color. Your wisdom belongs. Your desire belongs. Your unfinished learning belongs. You do not need to become a simpler person to build a more peaceful life. Wholeness does not mean every part feels the same. It means the parts are no longer treated as enemies. The protective part can rest near the hopeful part. The tired part can rest near the ambitious part. The part that wants change can rest near the part that needs time. They do not need to win against each other tonight. They can share the same surface. They can be held within the same life. This inner agreement may begin through the body, not through forceful control, through reduced demand. Your forehead does not need to organize the future. The muscles around your eyes do not need to search the darkness. Your mouth does not need to prepare an explanation. Your throat does not need to hold tomorrow's conversations. Your shoulders do not need to keep every responsibility lifted. Your chest does not need to protect you from events that are not happening now. Your hands do not need to test another piece. Your stomach does not need to predict the answer. Your legs do not need to carry you into the next day yet. The bed is beneath you. The surface holds your weight. You can arrive more fully where you already are. Let the back of your head become heavier. Let the pillow receive what your neck has been supporting. Let the space between your eyebrows become less involved. Let the tongue rest without forming another sentence. Let the jaw become less prepared. Nothing needs to be defended in this room. If your teeth are pressed together, they can separate slightly. If your lips are tight, they can lose a little effort. You do not have to create complete relaxation. One small release is enough. The shoulders may lower, or they may remain where they are. They do not have to perform rest. They can discover it gradually. The arms can become less responsible. The elbows can settle. The palms can remain open or closed. There is no correct position. The fingers have held enough pieces for one day. They can be still. The chest can move in its own rhythm. You do not need to deepen the breath. You do not need to count it. The next breath already knows how to arrive. The breath after that does not need preparation. Air enters, air leaves. Your participation can become smaller. The heart continues its work without instruction. The body has carried you through another day of thought, movement, reaction, memory, and choice. It does not need criticism now. It may not feel the way you want it to feel. It still deserves care. Pain deserves attention rather than blame. Persistent or concerning symptoms deserve appropriate professional support. Exhaustion deserves to be taken seriously. Tonight's words are not a substitute for that care. They can remain beside it. They can help you speak to the body with less hostility while you pursue what it needs. The ribs can become less guarded. The area beneath the chest can soften by 1 degree. The stomach does not have to hold every uncertainty. The unanswered email can remain unanswered for the night. The financial concern can return to the plan tomorrow. The relationship question can wait for clearer thinking. The appointment can be made when morning arrives. The next step is not being forgotten. It is being placed outside the hours of sleep. Your body does not have to solve it to prove that you care. Let the lower back meet the surface beneath you. Let support become physical. You do not need to imagine support. It is already there in the contact between your body and the bed. Weight meets firmness. The surface responds. You are not holding yourself above it. You can land. The hips can become heavier. The legs can lengthen without effort. The knees do not need to remain prepared for movement. The calves can release the day's distance. The ankles can settle. The feet have nowhere else to go tonight. You have arrived. This is the place where action ends for now. The picture can remain unfinished on the quiet surface. The pieces will not scatter because you sleep. The edges you already found will remain. The spaces that require attention will remain visible tomorrow. The piece that does not fit will not become right through midnight pressure. The peace that belongs will not require you to destroy your rest. You can leave the picture as it is, unfinished, meaningful, still forming. Let the body hear a few simpler lines now. I have arrived. I am supported. My hands can rest. My jaw can soften. My shoulders can lower. My breathing continues. My body can land. My thoughts can slow. This day is done. Tomorrow can wait. Nothing needs to be forced. Nothing needs deciding. The picture can rest. I can rest too. These lines do not need to remain clear. They can become quieter. The words may begin losing their edges. One thought may blend into another. You may hear less. You may drift away from the sentence before it ends. There is no need to return. Sleep does not interrupt the practice. Sleep completes this part of it. Across the next nights, you may come back carrying different pieces of the day. One evening may contain hope. Another may contain disappointment. Another may feel ordinary. You do not need to arrive in the same state. The ritual remains simple. You lie down. You release the demand to solve. You remember that one open space does not erase the entire picture. You let your deeper mind become familiar with what supports you. Then you rest. No score is kept. No night is wasted because you fell asleep. No progress is lost because you felt doubtful. The return is not a performance of perfect faith. It is an act of care. For this evening, care is enough. The hands are quiet. The open space is safe. The final piece does not need to be found before morning. You have arrived at the edge of sleep with nothing left to force. The day can now move farther away. Nothing more needs to be arranged before sleep. The picture can remain as it is, with much already formed and one space still open. You do not need to watch that space. You do not need to guard it from disappointment. You do not need to fill it with prediction. It can remain quiet. It can remain unfinished. It can remain free from the pressure to explain what comes next. Your deeper mind has heard enough for one evening. It has heard that an open space is not evidence of failure. It has heard that your worth is not waiting inside one final result. It has heard that what fits does not require you to abandon your shape. It has heard that action and rest can support each other. It has heard that doubt can be present without directing every choice. These messages do not need to be held at the surface. They can settle beyond deliberate thought. You may already be losing the thread of the words. That is welcome. You may drift into a memory and return for only a moment. That is welcome too. You may fall asleep before the ending. Nothing will be missed. Sleep does not need your attention in order to arrive. The body knows how to move toward it. The mind may continue offering pieces of the day, a sentence from a conversation, a face, a task, a worry that believes it must be remembered now. You do not have to push these thoughts away. Let each one rest near the edge of the quiet surface. It does not need to be placed. It does not need to be solved. It can wait until there is more light, more information, and more strength. The mind often returns to unfinished matters because it believes repetition is responsibility. It believes that thinking again will prevent forgetting. It believes that worry proves care. It believes that tension keeps the picture from coming apart. Tonight, you can offer another experience. Care can remain while thought becomes quieter. Responsibility can remain while the body sleeps. What matters will still matter in the morning. Rest does not erase your intentions. It gives them a steadier place from which to continue. You have already carried the pieces through this day. You considered what belonged. You questioned what did not. You made choices with the understanding available to you. Some choices may need revision. Some questions may remain open. Some actions may belong to tomorrow. For now, there is nothing more to press into place. Let the surface become still. Let the unfinished picture become peaceful rather than urgent. You can value completion without demanding it tonight. You can care about the future without entering it before sleep. You can remain devoted to a better life without treating this moment as an obstacle. This moment is part of that life. The quiet room is part of it. The support beneath your body is part of it. The decision to stop for the night is part of it. The kindness with which you meet your unfinished self is part of it. A better life is not built only from large outcomes. It is also built from the way you return to yourself when no outcome can be controlled. It is built when you refuse to make fear your only source of guidance. It is built when you recognize the difference between a difficult fit and a harmful one. It is built when you act where action belongs and release what is not yours to command. It is built when you seek appropriate support instead of asking private thought to carry everything. It is built when you stop calling exhaustion commitment. It is built when you permit tomorrow to receive the work of tomorrow. These are real placements. They may seem small. They still shape the picture. Across the nights ahead, you can return without needing each return to feel the same. One night may be calm from the beginning. One may contain many thoughts. One may carry sadness. One may bring a quiet sense of possibility. One may pass almost entirely in sleep. Each night can stand alone. There is no need to remember the previous evening perfectly. There is no need to create a continuous emotional state. You only arrive again. You let the day become complete enough. You let one supportive thought remain available. You give the body permission to stop holding the whole picture. Night by night, familiarity may grow. The idea of a fitting life may feel less distant. The idea of mutual care may feel less unusual. The idea of resting before deciding may become easier to accept. The idea that you can change direction may become less frightening. The idea that your worth is already present may begin to feel less like a statement and more like a lived truth. This does not have to happen on a schedule. You do not need to reach a certain feeling by a certain night. There is no hidden deadline inside this practice. There is only the return. There is only the quiet repetition of respect. There is only the choice to stop treating your deeper patterns as enemies. You may wake tomorrow feeling much the same. You may wake with one small difference. Both are acceptable. Change is not always visible while it is forming a pie. You may rest near its place before you recognize where it belongs. A section may remain confusing until the surrounding pieces are present. You do not need to call the unseen process empty. At the same time, you do not need to claim that something unseen is guaranteed. You can remain honest. You are practicing a calmer relationship with possibility. You are strengthening your ability to choose with greater care. You are giving your body an experience of rest beside uncertainty. These are enough reasons to return. Tomorrow, live the day rather than examining it for proof. Attend to your responsibilities. Use the information available. Speak with people who are trustworthy and qualified when their help is needed. Take the practical step that belongs to you. Then, if one small difference appears, let it count. You may pause before assuming rejection. Maybe you ask a clearer question. Maybe you recognize pressure and choose not to answer immediately. Maybe you complete something you have delayed. Maybe you stop forcing a conversation that has become one-sided. Maybe you accept help without explaining why you should not need it. Maybe you remember that one unfilled space does not define the entire picture. You can name that difference simply. You can report it back in a few honest words. I waited for facts. I protected my peace. I took one step. I recognized what fit. No dramatic story is required. The purpose is not to prove that the future has been secured. The purpose is to recognize that another response became possible. Recognition helps the new response become easier to find again. Then the next night can begin from wherever you are. No perfection, no performance, only return. For now, even tomorrow's small sign can be released. You do not need to search for it in advance. The night is not preparing an examination. You are not being measured. Let expectation become light enough to rest beside you. Not the expectation that one exact event must happen. The expectation that you can meet the next day with growing honesty. The expectation that support can be recognized when it appears. The expectation that you can respond to difficulty without abandoning yourself. The expectation that more than one meaningful future may exist. This is a steady kind of hope. It does not need constant proof. It does not make promises on behalf of life. It does not deny the open space. It lets the picture remain unfinished without calling it ruined. Let your breathing become quieter in the background. No breath needs to be improved. No rhythm needs to be controlled. The body can continue its descent in its own way. The forehead can remain smooth or slowly become smoother. The jaw can stay as it is or release a little more. The shoulders can settle by an amount too small to measure. The arms can become warm, cool, heavy, or neutral. There is no required sensation. The chest can rise. The chest can fall. The stomach can stop preparing for an answer. The hips can be carried. The legs can become less available to the day. The feet can release the distance they traveled. You are not going anywhere now. You have arrived at rest. The picture is near, but it no longer needs your hands. The remaining piece is not being chased. It does not need to be imagined in detail. You do not need to decide whether it represents a person, an opportunity, a decision, or a new way of seeing yourself. Let it remain unnamed. A named result can become another demand. An unnamed fit can remain spacious. You can welcome qualities rather than control forms. Respect, steadiness, safety, meaning, enoughness, mutual care, clear choice. These qualities can guide your attention without becoming rigid instructions. You can recognize them through patterns of action. You can help build them through your own choices. You can leave room for their form to differ from what you once expected. Before that quiet movement, let yourself remember that recognition does not always arrive as certainty. Sometimes it arrives as reduced resistance. You no longer need to argue with the same truth. You no longer feel compelled to explain a boundary that has already become clear. You stop returning to an option that repeatedly leaves you divided. You become willing to consider a choice that once felt too unfamiliar. The change may be subtle. A piece that seemed impossible to place becomes easier to understand because you have stopped demanding that it belong somewhere else. Your own shape becomes clearer too. You remember what matters to you. You remember what your body has been communicating over time. You remember which forms of effort leave you stronger and which leave you diminished. You remember that compatibility is not created by desire alone. It is revealed through correspondence, consistency, mutual responsibility, and truth. Let this understanding remain soft enough for sleep. You do not need to review every relationship or decision. You do not need to identify every mismatch. The deeper mind can keep the principle without completing the analysis. What respects your shape deserves attention. What repeatedly requires your disappearance deserves examination. What supports your well-being can be welcomed without suspicion, merely because it feels new. What harms you does not become suitable because it is familiar. These truths can rest without becoming commands. They can wait beside the other pieces until morning. Across the coming days, you may recognize that some spaces were never meant to hold the pieces you kept testing there. That recognition may bring relief. It may also bring grief. Let both responses belong. A clearer picture does not require you to deny what you once hoped. It asks only that you stop forcing the present to preserve an image that no longer corresponds with reality. You can release an old arrangement and still honor the part of you that tried to make it work. You can choose differently without turning the past into an enemy. You can let wisdom become the way the earlier effort continues to serve you. Now the mind can become quieter again. The lesson does not need another explanation. The picture does not need another inspection. One open space remains peaceful. One fitting piece remains free to be recognized without force. The piece turns once in the fingers. No second test is needed. No pressure is applied. The edges correspond. The shape is met by the space that can hold it. It settles. Not because it was forced, not because you changed its shape, not because the open space was wrong before it arrived. It settles because correspondence has become clear. Let that quiet recognition be enough. You do not need the whole future to settle tonight. Let one sentence settle instead. I meet what fits, open and unforced. The vow does not promise that every desire will arrive. It describes the way you choose to meet your life. Open enough to recognize support, grounded enough to examine reality, strong enough to protect your limits, flexible enough to revise the picture, patient enough to let some spaces remain open, willing enough to place the piece that is truly yours. Then your hands rest again. The picture becomes less distinct. Its lines begin to soften. The colors become quieter. The open space is no longer asking a question. The final piece no longer needs to be held. Everything can move beyond deliberate thought. You may hear only fragments now. Rest, open, unforced, enough. The words can fade. The room can fade. The effort of listening can fade. Nothing is lost as awareness becomes softer. Your day has been witnessed. Your hopes have been permitted to rest. Your doubt has not been shamed. Your body has been invited back into support. The night can continue without instruction. There is no more work inside these words, only the quiet permission to stop. Good is finding its way to you. Sleep now. The unfinished picture is safe beside you.